If you're withholding evidence, then you're not doing your job. What is up, my brethren? This is Echo TV. I am Jarvis Black. Thank you for coming back.
Well.
Here we are again.
At last, we meet for the first time, for the last time.
I think we're kind of at an impasse, and I don't mean to make this another I told you so video, but tooting my own horn.
I told you so, I told you so.
The Indiana Supreme Court declined to hear the Barnett case. There was a 3-2 vote, and they were denied. We're not interested. Back when the state's appeal was rejected, I said, I don't know why they think they can take this to the Supreme Court. They don't have much of a case. The prosecution brought charges against Kristine and Michael Barnett. The court basically threw them out, and the state appealed. The appeals court upheld the decision. The state thought, no, we're going to take this all the way to the Supreme Court. And now here we are. I've been holding off on making a new video about this because I was kind of waiting for all of the Supreme Court filings to kind of come in. This has come to a lot quicker resolution than I thought. Back in October, in the filing, they said they had new evidence. I was like, okay, let's see what we're looking at here. Because that's what I've been saying all along. There just isn't the evidence to overturn the ruling on her age. When they petitioned to change her age, then it was challenged. There was a hearing about that with witnesses. The court ruled to uphold her 1989 birth date instead of 2003. The state tried to say they weren't a party to that. Multiple courts have said, no, that's not correct. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's go through some of the court documents and the state's filing and kind of look at some of the highlights piece by piece. As I've mentioned a bunch of times in multiple videos about this, the state just doesn't appear to have a case. This Supreme Court filing didn't do anything to change my mind about that. They basically filed the exact same statements that they have filed this entire time, going back to the original charges. Now, if they have definitive evidence, that should have been filed a long time ago. I don't understand why they're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Isn't there an Einstein quote, right? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity or whatever. It's like they're so convinced that they're right that they just didn't think that maybe they should stop and reevaluate their strategy along the way. It's like they just had blinders on.
I'm blind the whole goddamn time.
And here's the thing from right off. They say, to facilitate their crimes, the Barnetts went and changed her age in 2012 so that they could abandon her between 2013 and 2016. If that's the case, then they would have had to have been planning this out for years prior to that as well. Like in 2010, when they were clearly thought that there was something up with her age and they were having tests done and there was a mental health facility involved. Even though they didn't know that their son Jacob was going to go to school in Canada, they started planning out how to abandon Natalia in 2013, like 3 or 4 years prior to that. So it's like right away, the state's argument doesn't make any sense. One of the things they keep falling back on is that the Barnetts were doing this secret scheming thing to abandon Natalia, except for the fact that there's documented records of the Barnetts contacting police, child protective services, adult protective services. They went to the police with their issue and the police directed them to an attorney that could help them with the age change process. If you were planning all of this abandonment, like you're going to involve all of the state services and these people that could get you in trouble and the police department directly. That's like a burglar saying like, hey guys, don't worry about me. I'm not going to rob this house over here. That's definitely not going to happen. So don't even bother looking over here. I'm totally not going to rob that place. Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. Regardless if that even makes sense at all, it doesn't jive with the state's narrative of them secretly trying to change her age and then abandon her. You can be extradited from Canada. So it's not like they try to make it sound like they just abandoned her so they could go to Canada and like, oh, we're in another country. Guess what? If you commit crimes in the US and move to Canada, they're hauling your ass back here to face trial. The only way that would work is if you committed a crime secretly and then went to a country that doesn't extradite. So the state's argument doesn't make any fucking sense. It's so aggravating. It's so annoying to read the state's argument. This is not even me siding with the Barnetts, because I don't necessarily think that what they did was right. I don't know whether or not Natalia was an adult or was a child when she was adopted by the Barnetts. I have no idea. But what I do know is the facts in the case don't bear out the state's argument. I've read through it over and over again, all of their filings, and it's just not there. If they have the evidence and haven't provided it, then they have completely flubbed this case up. They've completely screwed up. And like I said before, maybe Natalia should file a lawsuit against them or something for doing such a horrible job in prosecuting this case. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I've said that many times. So maybe I'm mistaken, but I don't think so, because multiple courts have agreed with me. Okay, so they go on to say that the appeals court decision doesn't give meaningful consideration to the justness of such a result. The substantial evidence that the judgment was procured in bad faith. The evidence was inaccurate. And I don't know if I can add more to this than what I had already said, but trying to say all of these other court rulings, not just the ones that have been involved in the criminal prosecution of Kristine and Michael Barnett, but the multiple court cases in the probate court determining her age, then all of those hearings and all of those witnesses and all of that evidence, they're basically saying it was all fabricated, it's all fake, and those other courts don't know what they're talking about. But I find it hard to believe that every single court and every single hearing that's happened between then and now, every other court has effed up, and every other judge is just a big dumb idiot that doesn't understand and doesn't take in consideration basically the way that they're wording it to the justness of the case. I don't fully believe that. The facts do not bear that out. And that's what the courts have shown. The last thing I want to touch on about this particular filing, which I briefly mentioned earlier, which is that the state said that they have evidence that no court has seen. Now, again, I'm not an attorney, but what the fuck? What are you talking about? What do you mean there's evidence that no court has ever seen? There were 2 hearings before about her age when it was challenged. Why didn't this evidence come up then? If no court has seen this evidence, it's either brand spanking shiny new, or you've been withholding it. And like I've said in previous videos, and I even said it earlier, I think too, I'll say it again. If you're withholding evidence, then you're not doing your job. You're now in a court filing highlighting your own ineptitude. There's no reason why any evidence shouldn't have been presented before. If your entire case was based on the discrepancy of her age, then that should have come up. What the hell are you doing? I don't even have a dog in this fight. I've just been covering the story for 2 years, and I'm just so sick of hearing the same thing. It just seems stupid. And that's a disservice to Natalia. If Natalia was actually a child when she was adopted, and you're trying to pull this bullshit like, oh, you don't know what cards I've got close to my vest. Well, guess what? You're at the Supreme Court now. You're fucked. What are you doing? What? Serenity now. Serenity now.
Serenity now. Insanity later.
Okay, so what are the next steps then? Right? Well, how's this going to go forward? I don't know. Maybe there's other charges within the law, crimes that they feel like were committed that they can now prosecute Kristine and Michael for. I don't know why they wouldn't have done that sooner. It's been over 2 years since the original charges were filed. The Attorney General, who has been mum on the case, I guess, in reports because of the gag order and whatnot. I don't know. I don't know what the next steps are. They weren't quiet about filing with the Supreme Court and what they were going to do after that. Now they're quiet. Now it's no, not going to comment on anything. I guess we'll find out. But I hope that if there is evidence and Natalia has been dealt a bad hand here, been treated unfairly, not only by the Barnetts, but then by the state prosecution and the Attorney General, then I hope that new evidence comes to light and something is done about that. If the Barnetts haven't committed any crimes here, then I hope they stop getting harassed. We could turn around and look at it from, say, a moral standpoint and say, even if Natalia was an adult, should they have left her in an apartment by herself, given that she had obviously some physical disabilities due to her dwarfism? Was that the right thing to do? That, I don't know. It seems like not. I don't know. I wasn't really there. I wasn't in the situation. They claimed that she was doing all of these horrible things and saying these horrible things to them and their kids. Frankly, Natalia somewhat substantiated on the Dr. Phil show.
I landed on his arm wrong, so the mom thought I was trying to break his arm.
Now, again, just because something's legal doesn't mean it's right. The state prosecution, Attorney General, keep taking L's here. I'll leave a link in the description to my playlist for all of the other Natalia Barnett and Kristine and Michael Barnett, or all the videos about this particular case. Because one thing I didn't do this time was go through and recap everything, which for some reason I feel like that's a courtesy to people watching, but I constantly get criticized for either giving too much detail in my recap and people just want the new information, or not giving enough detail in the recap. So I didn't do it at all this time. So how's none for you? How do you like them apples?
How do you like them apples?
That's where I'm going to end today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to everyone who have watched all my videos and been following this story along with me. It's been a wild ride. And like I said all along, I just hope that the truth comes out and that if there's justice to be served, that it's served. I really, really appreciate all of you. And I'll talk to you soon. Yeah. This is the end of the video. Like and subscribe. This is going to be a bitch to edit down. My stupid rambling and rants and not following my bullets. Okay.